Oh, yeah.
Hey guys, welcome to the Dr. G show. Welcome, or actually it's 2018,
Woo!
which is, it's weird because I don't think I've done a show since last year.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I actually took a couple weeks off.
Yeah. Hey,
taking a vacation,
whoa.
you know?
Man. Here's
So-
next year.
Yeah. Well, I haven't been doing this since last. I love saying that though. I'll tell my patients, I'll see you next year.
See you next year.
See you next year.
Yep.
All right, so this is episode 80.
Hey.
And, hey Rhonda, how you doing? And so this is episode 80. And this is, I think, a third time with our special guest, Scott Spradlin, or the Sprad Factor as he's known around my condo.
Mm-hmm.
You know what that's from?
Around the condo part? I don't know that.
No, it's The Office, all right.
Okay, I'm from the square when it comes to some things.
So thank you guys for attending, and this is a very exciting time, of course, because this is where everybody makes their New Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
And last year with Holly, what we were talking about was the unresolution, and that's what we want to talk about today. So the same kind of concept, but this time we're going to have some pretty good mindfulness involved and some research that we're going to talk about. Does anyone know how many resolutions fail within the first year? So of all these people making New Year's resolutions, how many succeed? Or no, we'll say how many succeeds. So out of 100%, how many people succeed by the end of the year?
Yeah, what do you think?
So you
Wonder what
guys,
you all think.
you guys post a number. And as we go through this,
Brianna.
Brianna says,
She's killing it.
that's not too bad. It's
Yeah,
pretty close.
yeah.
So,
Ooh, she is really on the statistics here.
I know. Yeah, so Rhonda's 10%. That's right, almost there. So it's actually 8%. Only 8%, which means 92% of people that make resolutions fail at their resolutions. So, see, Will knew.
Good job.
So I want you guys to post resolutions as we start this. Okay.
Yeah, I'm really curious what you're all setting as resolutions for yourselves also.
What was your
Good idea.
resolution?
Actually, I don't have any resolutions.
You resolved not to make resolutions.
Oh, man.
You succeeded, Scott.
You got me.
You got it.
I do have a resolution. I've resolved to not have resolutions this year.
Mine was to wear more spiritual garb. So I got this jasmine,
It's like
black jasmine made this, and it's like
bracelet,
real pearls.
I think it's a chakra bracelet.
Yeah, it says the chakras.
Yeah. Chaka Khan.
Chakras.
We did that again.
Chakras.
Chakras.
Chakra cons. And so we got matching bracelets. So now I am starting to become ultra spiritual like Scott. So then people come to me for mindfulness stuff.
They will.
Yeah.
You're coming right along. I'm like a mentor to him.
He's always been like a dad to me.
It's true.
All right. So Rhonda says change and refocus. So that's really good.
Oh, yeah. I like it.
What did Will says? Higher health. Yeah, better health. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Good. So keep posting those. And as you guys have questions, feel free to keep posting those. And even off camera, we'll still go through and answer these. I know Scott goes through them too.
Yeah, I like to go through those. And if I can respond, I will. And share links that might be related.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah.
You go above and beyond.
Well, I want to be a resource to our community.
All right. For those of you who don't know Scott, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, for those of you who don't know me, I'm a professional counselor and a licensed addictions counselor in Wichita. I work at Wichita Treatment Center, helping folks with methadone-assisted treatment, getting off of opioids, that sort of thing. Real heavy on mindfulness-based therapies and dialectical behavior therapy, which is a whole other topic. And then I'm also at House of Clarity and starting to take patients there on a private basis for dialectical behavior therapy and mindfulness-based treatments also. So working with borderline personality disorder, depression, anxiety, etc. Folks that want to learn to meditate, doing some coaching with some folks in that. So That's what I'm up to.
And that's pretty unique, right?
Like
Like doing the mindful stuff with the counseling, the therapy.
I think it's growing. Actually, I think it's got a lot more traction over the years. I've been practicing those for about 20 years now. Coming back to Kansas, it's taken a while to see it really begin to flourish here. But I know several practitioners in town who are utilizing mindfulness-based treatments, which is great.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, you know, in the Midwest, it's hard because we don't have a lot of kind of natural medicine kind of stuff. We have a handful of people, but seeing that go into therapy, which is really awesome, too. Because, again, that's huge, huge. And as you guys know, I'm Dr. Garrett. So I do functional lifestyle medicine. And so I have patients all the way, I guess, around the world and across the country. And basically help people figure out how to solve problems that nobody else can figure out, and do a pretty good damn job of it.
I think he does
if I
as
can
well.
say. So yeah, so that's pretty awesome. And I practice here in Wichita, and in O-Town.
That's right.
How you do?
OT.
That doesn't seem gangster. Like West Side, East Side. O-Town.
Well, you're Dr. G, so that kind of sounds gangsterish.
I need something more gangster for O-Town. Something like that.
Old Garrett.
Yeah.
OG, Old Garrett?
No, like a hand thing.
Yeah, I don't know how that works.
All right, then. I do have the blue waffler, right? That's our
Yes, he
mindful
does.
group.
Jenny.
You're a blue
You're
waffler.
out there.
Jenny
There we
and
go.
Jasmine and
Speaking
Tracy.
of Jenny, I am wearing my Pema is my Om Girl button.
I like that.
Yeah. Thanks, Jenny.
So ultra spiritual. All right, so post your questions as you have them, and your comments as we go through this. So one of the questions that comes up a lot is, why do we even make New Year's resolutions? Like, what the hell is changing all of a sudden because the one day changes?
It's so important all of a sudden.
Right. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to be a piece of crap all year, and now I'm going to be a better person. Not that you guys are a piece of crap. But
No. Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm
Speaking
going to
theoretically.
eat crap, and then boom, January 1st, I'm a new person.
Yeah.
I'm going to be super healthy. I'm going to get that 12-pack, 6-pack,
The case, the 24-pack, maybe.
24-pack of chicken nuggets. Was that what you're talking about?
I was thinking like the little ripplies
Oh,
on
yeah.
the ultra washboard abs.
I would like to get extra.
That's what life is all about.
I'd like to have uneven.
I'm sure you could.
Like maybe a 7-pack.
Hmm.
Everybody's all about 6-pack. I think the 11-pack is where to go.
Yeah.
Or a 7-pack.
Oh God, I did it
5-pack.
again. Yeah.
Or 1-pack, one just big giant one, like a kegger.
That is.
Right.
I know the secrets. I'll share them with you later.
All right.
I know how to do that one.
So on NPR, they were, I listened to a long time ago why we do New Year's, and they had some research, and they said basically there's these moments in people's lives where they think they will suddenly become a different person.
Oh yeah.
And so birthdays, deaths are a big one, and so it's and then like New Year's is of course a big one, and so they believe that suddenly I'm going to be this different person.
Yeah.
Right? And so when we talk about, like you guys guessed pretty fast there, that 92% of all resolutions fail. So we don't do a very good job at suddenly becoming a new person. And what do you always say about who you're going to be tomorrow?
Oh, we're going to be brand new human 2.0,
No.
ultimate human being?
No, what you do today?
Yeah, basically, whatever it is that we're doing today, whatever it is that you did today, you're likely to do it again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Those are just facts.
Creatures of habit.
Creatures of habits.
Yeah.
We all know it intuitively, and we also, of course, have the psych nerds and behavioral sciences nerds that research it and that empirically verify that we were right. We continue as creatures of habit.
Yeah.
Of course, the unless, the unless would be, that's what we're getting into along the way, unless we intentionally,
Right.
with awareness and deliberateness, deliberation, and we can change, but it requires paying attention.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, and this year, well, last year. So every year I made resolutions. I was going to change by this certain point.
Yeah.
But this year, the middle of the year,
Mm-hmm.
or last year, sorry, I deliberately made changes.
Yeah.
And they were sustainable.
Right. Yeah.
And a lot of what I did was I just did what I tell my patients to do all the time, which is kind of funny. It's like it's that simple. But okay, so we have two things when we talk about this new beginning, a time for change, a time to reset who we are. And there's two different approaches. Is one, we have this preconceived notion of resolutions that are going to change who we are. So I keep saying that. Suddenly, tomorrow, I'm going to be a brand new person. I'm going to love exercise. I'm going to love eating healthy. I'm going to be so different, and I'm going to be ultra spiritual.
That's right.
But that's what's called dichotomous thinking. And that's kind of what we do, is this dichotomous thinking, which is, like you said, it was all or none.
All or nothing.
I had to ask him what that meant. And so all or none.
Yeah.
So you're either going to fail or succeed, and we create these things, these resolutions, where it's really geared towards failure, yeah?
It really is, because we go from whatever state we're currently in. My old example. I'm eating a couple of medium pizzas a couple times a week, watching TV bored at home kind of thing, and not being mindful to how I eat or being mindful to my emotions. And that just continues and continues and continues. And then sometimes I'm like, you know what, tomorrow or Monday or New Year's, I'm going to become healthy, buff Scott Spradlin.
Yeah.
But I don't incrementally change behaviors in the moment along the way.
Right.
So it doesn't happen. So then I fail, and this is where a lot of us, we get in this trap. We don't meet that extreme goal. It's very vague and ethereal. And then we feel horrible. Yeah. We get caught up in the whole self-loathing thing, and oh, I'm such a terrible person, and see, I just can't do it.
Right.
I just don't have the willpower.
Yeah.
We're missing out some things. But anyway.
Well, that's the same approach that they have in the U.S. really towards like obesity and failure at weight loss. Like something like 98% of people will not be able to lose weight and sustain it, right?
Right.
Not my patients, but
of course not.
But that's because they never change, and so it's just this kind of like, I want to be different. Be a different person, but I'm not going to make the changes to be that person.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So.
Well, it's like working with my patients, especially folks with addictions. There's some all or nothing thinking with patients, but also in some corners and quarters of mental health and substance abuse treatment, there are still some providers who think, well, if these folks, and certainly the public, there's some ideas like, if they just had better moral character or stronger willpower, they should just be able to kick that bad habit.
Yeah. What's
magically.
that called?
We call that trait-based assessment and diagnosis, basically, or the expectation that this is a trait, so if you can just change your overall traits, some kind of character flaw, immediately, that's what's really going to be the big radical change. But that doesn't get into
the
skills
the ego
required.
depletion theory.
Oh, should we mention that now?
Oh, okay, we won't.
Okay. Okay.
Suspense.
Suspense.
I'm not going to talk about
Stand by for ego depletion theory.
And I think, let me see, I saw Brianna posted something here.
Oh, yeah?
Change is difficult. Sometimes I think we can change too much. We try to change too much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, and that's one of the things that we're going to talk about as we go through this too. Is you're exactly right. Well, I'm going to just radically change. Like, I'm going to feng shui my life.
I'm going to feng shui.
And then we stagnate very quickly. Yeah.
Hi, Nikki.
What does Nikki say there?
Well, I don't know. All the words go by so
Oh,
fast.
she's going to watch us later.
Oh, okay. Good.
All
We'll
right.
be archived. Watch us live.
All right.
Watch us archived.
Yeah. So you can always find these videos.
And you could rewind your favorite parts of the video.
Yeah. Well, and Trudy, too, magical thinking.
Magical thinking.
I like that.
It's a good one, yeah. Somehow things will be different just because.
Magical.
Because of my strong wishing, because I have the right desire. Poof, it'll happen. Yeah.
So the dichotomous thinking is all or none.
All or nothing.
And then we have Dr. G and Dr. Spradlin's
I'm not a doctor, by the way. I just look like one.
unresolution.
The unresolution, yes. We're going to work on unresolutions.
So the unresolution is basically cutting through the bullshit, right? And saying, I want meaningful, sustainable change. And so that's the two.
Yeah.
Meaningful and sustainable.
Sustainable. You can keep it going.
And changes in what I do. So the first one is what most of we do is say, I'm going to be a different person.
Yeah.
But really what we want to say is, I'm going to start doing different things till I become that different person.
Right. Right.
Yeah, Sabrina. Hey, Sabrina.
Hey, Sabrina.
She's back on Facebook now.
Oh, welcome
Unicorns
back to Facebook.
and rainbows.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm always giving my patients unicorns and rainbows.
Yeah.
They love that stuff.
So that dichotomous thinking has a high failure rate, which is
Does have a high failure rate, yeah.
But the unresolution, that meaningful, sustainable changes. So it's easy to make these kind of resolutions, but they're more obtainable. That things we can actually do now, like today,
right now,
right?
Yep. Yes.
So this is what's called dialectical thinking.
Oh.
And once again, I had to ask Scott
Did
what that
somebody
meant.
say dialectical? Oh.
Did they?
I did. No, you did.
No, you did.
No, you said it.
Said it, yeah.
Yeah, we said it earlier. We're saying it again.
So dialectical
yeah.
versus dichotomous is more successful. It's balancing things. So say what that means.
Well, from the vantage point of a practitioner of dialectical behavior therapy, dialectical thinking, the opposite of all or nothing, affirms both sides of the all or nothing. I have a poor diet and I'm out of shape. That is a fact and a reality, and I work on accepting that. Radically speaking, without judging myself, I simply gotta go, my muscles are atrophied, I've got some extra potential energy building up around some girth around my midsection, which is why I'm riding my bike again.
He rode in this freezing cold.
Whoosh, gonna do it again tonight and tomorrow.
Dialectical.
I'm being dialectical.
What can he do today?
Yes,
he did it.
I did. And on the other hand, so we gotta have to accept this is just the way it is. And on the other hand, then, what is it in this particular moment can I do to begin to embody what I want for myself? How do I embody action, or through actions embody what I value?
Yeah. Yeah.
But holding both and knowing that both are true. It's not either or. And I need to be a little bit more realistic. I'm not going to be an Olympiad athlete. That's not my goal. My goal is to maybe be healthier. And in fact, we're even going to move away from goals because we want to talk a little bit about intentions. And I don't know if we've got it later down the line. But if I've got this little bit here from a yogi. I really appreciate the way she phrases this about intentions. Talking about intentions, but she said that so basically the fact that we are learning that we always have a choice about how we step into the moment. We all choose that in this moment. Then what is different? I have a little more water. I don't have to quit drinking all coffee right away, but I should probably drink a little more water. My intention is in the moment I want to embody health.
Yeah.
And somehow I kind of keep that in my awareness and my attention. This is changing my general disposition toward just my day-to-day experience even. So in a sense, I'm even kind of, just when we're talking about setting intention, is this is changing my disposition toward my day-to-day experience. And I can do that with the help of mindfulness, because we're cultivating awareness, concentration. We find out when we're off track. And we can also offload unnecessary dichotomous judgments about ourselves, so that when we miss that day at the gym, it's not a total failure. You missed a day at the gym. You just go to the gym the next day.
Yeah. Well, I think people get trapped in the failure part. Yeah.
Do I ever?
Yeah. Do
we ever? Yeah.
But I like. Okay, so
yeah.
Zoe says she's down with the DBT.
All right, Zoe.
It's a reference to the '90s rap.
Down with the DBT, down with the sickness. Oh wait, that's not a rap song.
No.
Sometimes, like I said, I love square.
Yeah. Well, so let's talk about a few things here. So one of the funny things is looking up the research of this and like looking at how messed up this is, right? Hey,
okay.
Hey, Christine too. Glad to see you too.
Hey, glad to see you.
All right. So Forbes magazine says 8% of all resolutions are achieved, so 92% failure rate. And one of the messed up things is that 75% will achieve their resolution or maintain the resolutions for the first week. So 75 for the first week. That's pretty good.
It's good at
But
first.
that means 25% screw up on the, or not screw up, quit.
There's an They quit.
They quit.
They quit.
Right.
Or give up. There's a nutrition in the progress.
So it's those 20, like, I'm going to be a better person, and then like day 2, they're like, I'm an ass. So 71% kept it for 2 weeks. So that's
hey, way to
good.
go, everybody!
So 1 week, 2 weeks, 64% for 1 whole month. Nice.
To all of you in the 64%.
Nice.
Huzzah!
And then it drops down dramatically.
Whoa.
20% within 2 months. So only 20% are able to maintain it for 2 whole months. And again, because it's not sustainable, it's not achievable, because they didn't become a different person.
Right.
They're the same person with high expectations, but end up with failing.
Yeah.
And then 8% for 12 months. And here's the kicker. So 8% seems like a pretty big failure rate. So why try, right?
Yeah.
But 0% to 4% achieve their goals if they don't make them. If they don't make a resolution, which I don't know how that works. So 4%, it seems like they're 50% as likely to maintain it for a year if they don't make a goal.
Just don't make a goal. You're more likely to meet your goal. Or
I don't know what that's about.
It's wild, isn't it?
Yeah. So
that bears more research.
A few ways we want to keep sustainable change, all right?
Yeah.
Is really to measure success. And so don't make these outlandish things, but keep things very small and meaningful. So you talked about some small changes. So like even the idea of like so this is funny because I met him over at Wasabi so we could have lunch to talk about this, right? So not only were we eating fairly healthy,
we were,
right?
yeah.
So I thought, okay, well, he's meeting me at a healthy place, right? But I saw his bike out front, and it's like, what, negative 50 degrees or something?
No, I think it was at least 6 degrees at that point.
6 degrees. And I saw his bike, right? And the first thing I thought was, could I steal his bike without him not knowing? But I
had my U-lock on it.
He has his U-lock.
Securely locked to a Wichita trash can.
So, the second one was, I bet he's feeling self-conscious about Christmas and Thanksgiving because he's riding in the freezing cold to make sure he's making sustainable change.
Well, you begin to feel it when the potential energy begins to grow here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean by potential energy,
oh,
right?
Yeah.
People fat.
So that was pretty funny because you said, and I knew this, because in your brain you were just like, I could drive or I could ride my bike. And you chose the hard thing to do. You had every excuse not to do it. But you rode your bike through the freezing cold to eat at a healthy place because it was meaningful.
Well, it's a habit that I picked up last winter. So from February last year all the way through up till early fall this year, I've been riding just even basic commuting to and from work. After my dad had a heart attack in the fall, I went to get my own physical done. This kind of thing. The doc was real happy about the results. You know, he was seeing the results. He's like, "Wow, you've lost 23 pounds since your last check-in. Your blood pressure's lower. What are you doing?" And the only thing I could think of was, well, it must be the bicycle commuting.
Yeah.
And of course, sometimes I'll meander about on the bike. I don't meander as much right now. It's kind of like to and from point A and B. It's really freaking cold. And do not wear your Puma running shoes while you're biking in this weather. They're very well ventilated, which is great for when you're running.
Yeah.
They'll be boots tomorrow. Anyway, and so not only, but I missed the biking, and I realized I really kind of got out of the habit because I've had had to go see Dad and did a little more driving and this sort of thing, and that became very comfortable because oh goodness, there's air conditioning and heating and everything's so easy, and so there is a very as far as like a habit goes. I mean, cue is I got to go do stuff with Dad. Behavior is I can get in a car and drive, and then the rewards are compared to being on a bicycle. It's like, wow, this is really fast. I can control the climate, so all this high reward.
Fast and easy.
It's a lower effort, higher reward situation behaviorally. So, in terms of me being an organism, like, ooh, this feels really good. There's a lot of rewards there. Whereas riding a bicycle, you got to stick with it for a while, and we'll get into what these habits mean and how they're defined by some experts. But you're just repeating it so often. It's kind of like, well, of course I'm riding a bike in the morning. Eventually, I get back to that again because it's like, what's the big deal?
Right.
Why aren't you riding a bicycle? I'm not the weirdo. You're the weirdo.
Right.
Yeah, not you specifically.
Oh, hell no. I was about to punch in your eye.
And maybe not you specifically either. It's a royal you, and I don't want Dr. G to punch me in the eye. But yeah, but it's a small details, you know. But you have to kind of prepare measurably. So I had to go get a new couple of balaclavas, got some new thermal stuff for Under Armour, you know, so that you can take on the. I got some new lights for the bicycle. Want to be safe and all that good stuff. So
you know what that is?
Hmm.
Weather doesn't determine what you do; it determines what you wear when you're doing it.
That's good.
That's right.
Look
See.
This guy.
That's a shut it down thing. Right?
That is.
Oh,
I like
it's raining, it's cold, it's windy. Yeah, all right, well,
hot.
Suck it up. Chin up, buttercup.
Yeah.
So,
by the way, it feels good after a while. So, and it's not bloating, but something you want to do, and we'll talk about this more. Maybe you're going to give us some feedback, in our comments here. But there's something that you just know. It's the wisdom of your body saying, I want activity, and you're listening to that. And your body knows it wants to move and get worked out. Or your body's telling you, I really could use some niacin. I could use some, vitamin B. I could use some magnesium. And where do I get that? Sometimes people actually do crave healthy foods even. But once you start kind of making incremental changes toward that, because it feels more natural, you're not thinking about it much. It's not a big deal. It's just, of course, I eat healthy. It's just what I do.
Yeah,
you get there eventually. But perhaps I'd like to say digressing. So we'll come back.
So then, making small changes. So those little things. Yeah, what can I do? Right?
Yeah, right.
And then making them doable and achievable, and avoiding vague. So
avoid the vague.
Vague is one of the biggest killers of resolutions, which is saying I'm going to lose weight, or I'm going to get healthier, or I'm going to go to the gym. And so there's a lot of gray area there, a lot of area for failure and really limited success. And so instead of saying I want to lose weight, say I will change a behavior, right? Don't change who you are, but change that behavior. So I'm going to say I'm going to eat, instead of fries when I go out to eat, I might eat more vegetables. So, again, kind of like you said, don't give it up all the way. Now, if you're my patient, no, you just stop it all. Like, we're hardcore. But...
Doctor dichotomy.
That's right. And so, but I don't have failure either. They don't have failure. You just keep trying. Progress over perfection.
That's right. In fact, we're going to talk about that later, aren't we?
Yeah.
Failure.
That's right.
Such as it is.
And so, that's one of the things, like, we'll probably okay. So, like, I'm wearing my Tough Mudder.
Tough Mudder shirt.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, my Tough Mudder is kind of like Amy, who's on here, her Race for Freedom. We're up there together. She gave me her thing, her numbers. Because it's the same thing. Right? And so one of the things of like, okay, I want to get healthier. So this summer, or this time last year, 2016, good Lord. So 2016, I started going through a divorce, and it's 2018, we're not done. She doesn't want to divorce me because, because it's crazy. But
let's not get into all that right now.
So, things were crazy, like horrible for me. And I just, I just didn't know how to handle it because I always turned to food, kind of like the two pizzas, right?
Yeah.
I always turned to food and then video games and TV. And so I was distraction or eat for my, while I was kind of in that situation for years and years and years and years, I didn't get to be who I really was, and so I changed into this different person, and it was like, how the hell? And I kept always making these resolutions where I was just like, I'm going to get healthier. No, I'm not. I'm going to do the same thing I did before.
Magical thinking.
Right?
You've done it all, haven't you?
That's right.
You've done the field testing on the magical thinking and the dichotomous thinking.
Yeah, and so I was like, I'm going to get stronger, but I didn't do anything. So, last spring, I started doing meditation. Holly invited me to do meditation with you guys. And you just started that program.
Yeah.
And that radically changed how I thought. I became more mindful, more purposeful, more present. And then I started saying, okay, well, I'm going to do a little bit of yoga, and I'm going to do more walking. And I found reasons to do more things once I started thinking differently.
Yeah.
And one of the things I did was I started running, too. I started the Couch 5K because Donna kept telling me, you keep posting about food, but not movement. Well, why aren't you exercising, Dr. G? And so I was like, oh, okay. So I posted things about running, and then she's like, that doesn't cut it. So,
Oh, really? Okay.
so I was like, all right, fine. So I did Couch to 5K. So I signed up for something, and I started doing something.
Okay.
And Couch to 5K is really good because it's very doable, implementable, and if you mess up, who gives a crap? You just get back on track, you know? But I kind of felt like I needed something, so I signed up. Well, yeah, because she pushed me again, because I posted a picture about the Tough Mudder.
Go Donna.
And then she started talking smack about that. So then I just said, screw it, and I signed up for the Tough Mudder. And so I was doing the 5-mile, 12 or 13 obstacles. And so I thought, okay, that's doable, right? Now they have a full one. I can't run no 12 miles yet, so that's ridiculous. But I thought, okay, in 3 or 4 months, I can run 5 miles. And so I had 5 miles to train, or several months to train for 5 miles and to do those obstacles.
Yeah.
And so I did the Couch 5K. So for the first time in like, I don't know, 20 years, I was like actually making sustainable changes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then I went from magical thinking to actually balanced changes.
He
No.
aligned his actions to his values.
That's right.
He fulfilled, manifested his intentions. Mm.
That's right. So I'm living proof you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it, right? And what's really interesting is like, I got healthier and lost weight and stronger, and I've kept it all off, which is nice. And now none of my clothes fit, and I had to get smaller clothes. And
Such a tiny man now.
I went over in my old pants, jeans, and my niece was like, you have to throw those away. I'm like, yeah, but they feel really loose and stuff because I haven't got new jeans. And she's like, well, get a tighter belt. And I was like, well, I ran out of holes in the belt. He's like, well, get a new belt.
Yeah.
I was like, good. That's a good problem to have, right?
Yeah.
But the success was so much different than all the attempts before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I went from magical thinking, from that dichotomous, I'm either going to make it or break it, and I'd always fail, always fail. And then when I switched that dialectical of like, okay, what can I do? What can I do today? And that's where it started. Like, I could do yoga today. I could do yoga in the morning. I'll do yoga in the morning. I'll do yoga this morning. Right?
Getting pretty specific.
I will run today. Right?
Whoa.
And used to what I was is tomorrow day. Tomorrow day, that's what I'll do.
Tomorrow day, yeah.
I was very good at planning. I would design out everything, and then it would never implement.
Go buy new exercise outfits.
Yeah.
New leotards.
When we do
leg warmers.
My Lululemon yoga pants,
Be
so
stylish.
I love that because what I did was I did what I tell patients to do. I do what you tell your patients to do. And once you became that living example, like it was a whole different world. Like people could see that I did the changes. So then I was posting my food and I was showing people how simple it was. But the only difference was I was actually doing something. And same thing with Amy. Amy, she did the same thing. Bring accountability. Yeah. And Amy, she's a glowing example of this too. She ran that 5K.
Wow. Good job, Amy. Good job. And good job helping keep him accountable.
She's representing the West Side.
All right. Their side's easier to make.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
So, charting goals and vision boarding too.
Ooh.
So we did vision boarding at Connie Paraska's.
Connie Paraska's.
Yeah. And
New Year's Eve.
That was a very interesting thing because vision boarding I'd never heard of, but it was basically going through all these magazines and finding things that are meaningful for this next year of what you want to do and who you want to be.
As a way of visually setting intention.
Right, I'll post a picture of mine. I did really nice cutouts of designs because Carol was kicking my butt.
Carol Farrow made like the most amazing
hers look like
board.
Artwork is bullcrap.
And she was like all over it.
I think my vision board should have been a picture of her vision board, And in 2018, I want to be able to vision board like Carol vision
I think
boards.
we should have taken a picture of Carol making her vision board to put that picture on our vision boards.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh. We'll have to have her reenact it. We can do that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Christine says, what's your profession?
Oh,
Yeah.
hi,
It's the
Christine.
oldest profession in a certain category.
I'm a therapist, professional counselor, and addictions counselor.
Yeah.
Do a lot of mindfulness-based work, so that's what I do. So
He helped me
goes
get
down.
off crack and onto food.
We worked him into the Twinkies, titrated him up of that, and then onto wasabi and some delightful Japanese food.
Yeah, because hard cheese is more addicting than crack, so he got me on the hard cheeses first.
Mm-hmm.
Then
we
worked me
weaned
to the
him into the
Twinkies.
soft cheeses, right? From the hard to the soft, and
Yes.
yeah. And now I'm still on the cheese.
He helps people get their life back that can't figure out how
Yeah.
to do it.
Yep, you're welcome, Christine. Thanks for asking the question.
Yeah. Yeah, keep posting, guys, and if we don't
Yeah,
catch it,
yeah.
we'll do it later
Yeah.
too. But don't feel like this is your time.
Yeah,
It's all you, baby. It's all you.
we're here for you.
We are like your perfect boyfriends who like care what you have to say. Even for the guys that are watching, like
We're here to listen.
we're your Brad Pitt. I don't know if that works.
I don't know either.
All right.
But we'll see if it does.
I dressed up like a girl once for Halloween, and I made an ugly girl, so
Yeah.
it's not
okay.
gonna. I can't even fake it.
All right.
So, all right. So high failure rates, not being vague,
Mhm.
charting our goals,
Mhm.
and then failure is blamed on the lack of willpower,
Ooh.
and that's kind of like that lazy American theory, which you
Yeah.
called.
Well, there's a gentleman, last name of Baumeister, who back in the '90s coined a phrase related to these kinds of changes, ego depletion theory. In other words, we become sort of, I think, our egos become weary or taxed by our efforts, and that language, that idea, sort of, as many popularized psychological ideas do, they trickle down. They become part of cultural lingo. We all kind of pick up on it. Kind of this idea that it feeds into the American idea, like, up by my bootstraps, magically do it.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I mean, if I don't, it's because I'm failing morally. I have a very poor willpower. And so if I could just be more like my brother, my sister, or that other good person in my life, then I would just be fine if I just get it together magically.
If I could just be more Scott-like,
If he could be more like me,
then
he'd be way more successful than he already is.
That's
Which is
right.
really super successful. And definitely very spiritual.
What happens if
Yeah.
we touch our spirituality
Oh, no.
bracelets together? Wonder Twin powers activate.
Form of a meditation session.
Yeah, so that's that. That I like that. I
Yeah.
like pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Right.
Well, man, some people might not even have bootstraps.
Well, yeah, and by the way, on that note, I think where a lot of us end up at, everybody is gifted differently, even in terms of their early, well, let's say genetic, just a genetic material they're born with, right? And then in utero experiences, and early childhood experiences, and then if we don't account for things like trauma, shame-based experiences, these kinds of things, people that maybe are a little bit more emotionally, sensitive, that kind of heat up like microwave ovens to situations that some of us others maybe are kind of like, oh, it doesn't really affect me the same, just because their physiological equipment has been wired a little bit differently. We're not thinking about all those variables, and so for some folks, we're talking about massive emotional work that needs to be done. It's not a matter of just like, well, just do it. The other thing is, not only do you have those sort of things with some folks, if I can be more vague with some things and stuff and some folks,
You can mention those folks if you want.
the folks
Like, by
and
name.
people and stuff, like
Let's start naming people.
Patrick Garrett,
Oh, snap.
for example. He's already signed a HIPAA release with me. We can talk about his case while we're here on the air. Actually, so there's that. But then some folks, they may be strapped with the burden of kind of being already geared toward being hyper-reactive emotionally, which fractures their attention and awareness, which then leads to further emotional dysregulation and just general disorganization. So it's very difficult for them to get centered, and then you couple that with a lack of skill, because this is really what we're getting down to, is we're implementing new habits, skillful behavior, but if they come from environments, they're already emotionally heightened folks, vulnerable folks, plus their environments didn't teach them how do you meet these expectations that we as your environment and the world are putting on you. Oof, that's kind of a really scary place to be.
Right.
And so sometimes that's why I think mindfulness can be so helpful, because it helps us to, for those of us who maybe have those issues with intense emotional experiences or shame, these are other kind of hidden or secret barriers, or then the internal monologue of like, I'm a grown-up, I should be able to do these things. I'm 40 years old, my God, what's wrong with me? Because that's what we've been hearing from other people.
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I hear this a lot from my patients, especially folks who have been deep in a very, a crippling addiction for years. When they begin to get clean and the brain fog starts to clear out, they often say to me in groups that we're in, man, it's really tough to be a quote-unquote grown-up who's not a grown-up. Because I don't know how to do all these things that everyone else takes for granted.
Right.
Pay my bills, eat good food, have healthy relationships, all this stuff. And these all require specifics, skills, assistance, coaching, and also just in terms of like taking on a behavior as a regular habit, then those new skillful behaviors have to be reinforced and strengthened along the way, so progressively, right? Then they eventually become the habits that we are often vaguely wishing for.
Which, by the way, can we go back to that ego theory? That dude was, his name was Baumeister?
Baumeister.
So like Mr.
B-A-U-M.
Oh, I thought it was Mr. Bow or something. Like bowel movements.
No, sorry, you don't get
right.
that pun, buddy.
All right, fine.
And I really don't know where that lies with a lot of folks, but a lot of researchers come along and start to challenge, that approach to.
That's huge though, because that's that.
Yeah.
Like,
and I don't want to blame him for all this. It was already part of the American psyche, like you said. It's just already like, again.
Well,
bootstraps, but what if you don't have bootstraps?
Right, I don't think I was taught that stuff, but I still, there were times where my magical thinking didn't pan out to success, and I thought, what the hell's wrong with me?
Exactly.
I'm old enough to have this stuff figured out.
Yeah.
But then you talk to your other friends, and like, nobody really feels like an adult anymore. Like, I think our parents just faked it. So it's
that's why our generation, well, not just our generation, but I guess anybody who is legally an adult and upwards, we now have in our language, adulting is so hard.
Right.
I agree. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
It is for me.
And I like the vulnerability, too, because, I thought it was only me. I thought, man, my dad looked like he had it all together. My mom seemed like she had it all together. And why do all these other people got it together? And then once you mention, like, man, I don't feel like an adult. Like, how come I don't feel like my parents? And then, like, everybody else is like, oh, my God, me too. I think we're just
all come clean, man.
We're all just faking this, like, we've got it together, we have a schedule, we know how to, coordinate stuff, and, especially once you have a degree, you're just
adulting,
like,
by the way.
Connie said when I was joking around, or jackassing around, during vision boarding, she was like, and you're a doctor? And I'm like, well, I'm not an adult, I don't feel like an adult quite yet.
I have some credentials.
I'm like, what age? Like, I thought when I got my doctorate, I'd be like, oh, shoot, now I got it all figured out, right?
Let's look over our glasses at the audience.
So,
yes. Do we look more adult now?
No, it's
suddenly
crazy.
I think I look like the father you never wanted to have.
Weren't you on Harry Potter or something like that?
I don't like to talk about that. I like to keep that on the DL.
So that ego depletion theory or lazy American theory is bullcrap. Don't buy into that. And so, one of the things I like that you said the other day at meditation, which we wrote it down here, is procrastinating the negative.
Shall I speak on it a bit?
Yes, do. If you would be so kind as to share your wisdom.
Procrastinating the negative. And seriously, basically, something I picked up from my patients, who several who are benefiting from not only being in treatment or participating in treatment, they are also participating in 12-step programs, which are helpful for them. They have a strategy where they're noticing they're feeling emotionally dysregulated, which triggers some craving for, fill in the blank with behavior X, whatever it is. Could be a substance, could be some other compulsive behavior. Food. Which helps. Could be food, the pizzas, could be gambling, cigarettes, that maybe that's the other cigarette. But anyway, we turn to these things. We're triggered to turn to these things, and I've lost my train of thought. Who is it?
I was pointing at Christine's comment.
Well, let me backtrack. Let me recollect. Procrastinating negative. So they may feel dysregulated, and then they feel like they're sitting on a drink, and they're an alcoholic in recovery, and they will say to themselves, well, I can always get drunk tomorrow. Yeah. Which is true. Liquor stores aren't going anywhere. Alcohol is not going anywhere. So you can say it with anything. It's just like, I always can do that tomorrow. I have at least 1,000 options today of what I can do with this moment or this day.
Yeah.
I never counted how many options there actually are, so 1,000 may be a bit of a hyperbole, but you kind of get the gist, right? I mean, we have so many options what we can do at a given moment. Yeah.
You know what? Now that you say that, I think I actually did that in the beginning when I was making all the lifestyle food changes.
Oh, yeah?
Was I can have a candy bar later.
Yeah, there you
go.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
and I remember, because I was doing some of the negative stuff, I was just like, so that was that not all or none. I can't have candy anymore.
Right.
No, I can have candy. And that's the thing is, life is choice. I can have whatever the hell I want to do. I can have whatever the hell I want. I can do whatever I want to do. Yeah. But what I wanted to do and what I chose to do before did not get me where I wanted to be. And so that's that mindfulness of saying, well, true, I can have a candy bar, but I don't want to be that guy that eats the candy bars anymore. I don't want to be him anymore.
Yeah.
It didn't work.
It doesn't work. You don't feel well.
Right. You feel like crap, and there's that. It's a weird thing that Dr. Kessler talks about in the book, The End of Overeating. Yeah. But there's this little satisfaction that goes on with feeling miserable.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like that. Well, like I was in a situation where somebody told me I was just terrible all the time. And everything I did was awful. Everything was terrible. So why not feel terrible? I must be a terrible person.
Yeah.
And that's what I remember, like, going to marriage therapy. I was like, why are you here? And I was like, well, I want to be a better father and better husband, but I can't seem to figure out how. And so it's like I do everything that I think I'm supposed to be doing, but it was never good enough. And so I just eat. So why not eat the candy bar? Why not eat the pizza? Why not drink the soda? But I like that pushing things away, that negative, procrastinating the negative, until I became that different person. Until I remember that moment of like I was just crazy stressed out in my office, and I thought, I'm going to go eat sushi. And I thought, that's amazing, because my instinct used to be, screw it, what am I doing this for? Just go eat pizza and drink soda, it's easier that way.
And then go on a bender.
Right, and feel horrible.
Big binge, yeah.
And there's no difference in alcohol, drugs, food. It's all dopamine, basically satiating the brain. That's all it is. Life sucks, so I'm going to try to feel good by using food. Who called me?
Stop calling during the live feed. Does that show up on their side? That would be hilarious.
Why'd that say 911?
911's calling us. Uh-oh. I wonder what that means.
So I love, and in group, mindful group, two of the people were talking about how they actively procrastinate the negative.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah. And by the way, it's another just example of just small things you can do to just living into a direction that of health, sense of spaciousness, the things that you feel that really nourish you, that kind of thing. Paying attention. There's that number. Can you guys see that in video land? Probably not. That would be hilarious, though.
Yeah.
Should we read the number out loud? Or
no,
probably
we should all call that person and be like, dude, what's up with that?
It's our sponsor. The sponsor's calling. But one of the things I've really enjoyed about our Wise Mind group on Saturdays is it gives me something to do on Saturday morning.
Yeah.
It really does. It really turned out to be that way. I didn't think about it at the time. I think I was just looking for some folks to connect with around meditation, but then rather than maybe sleep in late on Saturday when I'm having my quote-unquote work hangover, I'm just really, I'm so blasted from working at the clinic all week and emotionally exhausted, which is true, and then laying in bed a little extra, and then my day is practically gone, and everything's kind of so. I get to get up in the morning. We don't meet awful early, but I have somewhere. I have a reason to be up on Saturday. I can come down and sit with all of you. We have wonderful conversations and great meditation sessions, and some of us go out to the Beautiful Day Cafe afterwards.
Get our healthy food.
Charlotte, Lincoln, I hope you hear this.
Because we're right tribers.
We are indeed.
Yeah.
And we love your food in that space. And it's just been a real,
There you go.
It's
so weird.
Get that out of there. But that for me has been something that's like my Saturdays are better.
Yeah.
And then if I want to get other stuff done like laundry or whatever, I've got time to go to the grocery store. Great. I'm already up and moving around doing stuff, and so in a way, just kind of laying around in the emotional work hangover on Saturday, just kind of made Saturday a little yuckier by contrast.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's turned to be a beautifully embodied alignment toward my values.
Yeah. So can you explain to them why when we're in the Wise Minders and the, what's the rest of it? Beautiful Life?
Wise Mind and the Good Life.
In the Good Life. Why we're not supposed to look you in the eyes directly?
Are you looking at me? Now you can look at me through. You look at me eyes through here.
He's like, "Are you eyeballing me?"
I'm like, "Are you eyeballing me?"
All right. So some of the most popular resolutions. So a couple things that exercises we should do for you guys, and I'll do it too, and Scott will do it. Is maybe write what you started out with your New Year's resolution.
Hi, Ellen. Sorry.
Oh, Ellen's
Let's
on
say
it.
hi to Ellen.
And her last name's
or awesome.
Yeah. So to put down what is your New Year's resolution, and if it wasn't really the dialectical type or it was just kind of grandiose, how would you change it? Or what is your resolution that is really meaningful change?
Yeah.
So like mine, I'll tell you what, I thought about this ahead of time, and so luckily it worked out well. But mine was to be more purposeful oh crap, I can't think of the word now. But basically I goof around a little bit too much sometimes, and so I kind of like, I'll just wait till evening and then I'll just get a whole bunch of stuff done. But it doesn't work very well long term, And so I want to make sure that when I'm at work, I'm making sure that I spend my time be more effective. I want to be more effective with my time. And so that means these little times that I have that I try to get other little stuff done, but also take time for myself. And so sometimes stress gets too much and I get a little bit over the top of taking more breaks than I should.
Right.
And and then I become less effective. And so really I want to be just a little bit more effective with my time management. And so again, something that's doable, and so today, same thing, have a little extra time. Well, instead of doing this, I'm going to be more effective and I'm going to get these things done. So when I was at home, before I get to work, since I have a little bit later day, I'm going to be more effective. I'll pay all my bills online and then have that done, right?
Blammo.
Yeah. So that's way better. And I feel better about it. And so I still have to do those things.
Yeah.
But now it's in a more meaningful way to me, and I feel better about it. So, what is she? So Black Jasmine, what? It's an insult in some cultures
to look someone in the eye. And by the way, yes, that's true.
That's very Filipino.
Having once been part of a Chinese congregation, I learned, especially with folks from the mainland, the more recent immigrants,
you don't eyeball them?
you made more kind of glances and peripheral vision, and very respectful to not make that direct eye contact.
What's Jim's fiance?
Who?
Jim.
Oh, Terry?
Terry?
Yeah. Why?
Terry made us do this mindfulness thing where I picked the new guy, and we had to touch knees and face each other and we had to hold hands and stare at each other in the eyes.
Yeah, it was intense.
That's pretty intense.
I got to do it with Tracy Holdeman.
Oh, did you fall in love? Like a little bit?
I did.
Those little
I told him that over New Year's. I love you, Tracy Holdeman, my flow bro.
So the whole time when I was looking at that guy in the eyes, I was just like, don't fall in love, don't fall in love.
But it was intense. But yeah, but she's right. Yeah, making that kind of eye contact can be that way. Some cultures, people expect it to be very direct. And although I'm from Kansas, which seems very meek, probably compared to somebody from the East Coast, New York, when I spent a year in Northern Ireland back in the day when I was still a young guy out of college, as I got to know people, they said, well, we thought maybe you were an American because you seemed very assertive. And as it turned out, as I learned, even there, I was making more eye contact than they were accustomed to.
Do your Irish thing.
My Irish thing?
Right, do it.
Oh, I'm from Belfast, so I am.
Yeah.
So it is. So you are. And how's your wee man? And to all my friends in Northern Ireland, my apologies. Please forgive me, so you will. I don't think that's how you're supposed to use that sentence, but you will forgive me. You will forgive me.
I like that. So, some of the most popular destinations without roadmaps that people make is exercise, like, again, not...
You get that 12-pack abs.
That's right. So go to the extreme, right?
Go extreme.
Lose weight. I want to be super fit for...
my modeling shoot.
That's right.
My portfolio.
Swimsuit season's coming up. I got 6 weeks. I gotta
6 weeks?
I gotta get this knocked out.
I can get chiseled in 6 weeks. And
Time
that's
management.
healthy. That's sarcasm, by the way, folks. That does not sound
We
medical
don't do
advice.
sarcasm on this show.
Oh, aren't you? I thought you were Dr. G. Okay.
Time management.
Yeah.
So being suddenly more productive, even though you've never been more productive.
I gotta get it together.
Yeah. Suddenly get it together. Saving money. Which they said the average American doesn't have $400 for a sudden bill. So suddenly we're going to have money, and even though we have
it's all going to work out.
That's right.
When I buy that lottery ticket.
And then I put learning a new language, but most people can barely speak English, or they speak emoticon. Wink, wink, happy face. Or speak hieroglyphics now.
Boing, boing, boing. Okay. Hey, Tracy, how you doing, man? I was just talking about you.
Oh, yeah, Tracy.
Make sure you watch the
joins.
archive, Tracy, my flow bro.
He's logging on at the last moment to be like, oh, I watched the show. He's trying to get credit for this. I bet he did that in college, like show up last minute just to sign in.
I'm back here. Okay.
All right.
We should be more encouraging. It's good to have you here, Tracy. Good job.
Yeah. All right, so we'll wrap it up.
We're wrapping it up.
All right, so we want...
Oh, yeah.
This is you.
Oh, this is me.
So lasting change
Yeah.
comes from intention, which comes from being mindful and aligning ourselves with our values. That's all Scott.
Right.
What?
So, one of the things I recommend...
That's some deep shit right there. That's deep.
I don't know if I should... I don't want to wreck with more words, but...
Did you bring some swimming armbands there? The little... what are those called?
Little
wings?
floaties?
Floaty wings? Because you're in the deep area now, buddy.
I'm in the deep.
We're in the deep.
Got my metaphorical, got my spiritual floaties. So what this basically means is, if we want to break our old cycle of conditioned reaction and conditioned habits, reflexive habits, we have to first pay attention to what am I doing today? What is it that I did today? What am I doing in this moment? Not only like what am I eating and consuming or these sort of things, but what's happening internally, what's my emotional state. Mindfulness helps us become more observant of those experiences. We can identify more what's happening with ourselves. In a lot of ways, it's sort of like enhancing your self-diagnostic tools. I'm anxious, and it's fine. I'm anxious. I don't have to go catastrophic on that, or I'm experiencing intense chronic pain, and that means that life is the worst thing ever. That may be an old thinking pattern I have, but I don't have to go catastrophic on it again. Or if it's the eating, saving money, or exercising, and I'm getting caught up in the resolutions, I can say, here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to necessarily plan a lifetime exercise program. I'm just going to go to the YMCA right now. or in the morning. This is it. I can go do that. So this is where I then, as our yogi said, we are learning that we are always have a choice about how we step into the moment. We always have a choice. We'll often say to ourselves, and I've done this, I don't have time to exercise. Well, guess what? Nobody has time to exercise. You know, none of the, like Mark's, well, who's the swimmer guy these days? I forget all these famous guys. Anyway, famous, super fit people don't have time for exercise. They made time for exercise, then they make time for exercise. And that's not necessarily have to be our model anyway, because we're encouraging health, we're encouraging progress, not perfection, you know, or at least our idea of perfection. But in a given moment, we can choose, how do I step into this moment? A little bit of salad or the Twinkie?
Yeah.
I'm just going to have I can get that Twinkie later, but right now I'm just going to eat some salad. So this is how we do this. This is my intention in the moment. Then it's like right now, you know, something I'm working on is one of my intentions for the year. It's something that I've worked on for a little bit, but I would like to return to it, is gentleness. Being gentle toward patients.
You're already gentle.
Co-workers. Well,
you can't pick stuff you're already good at.
I don't. Okay, but internally, there's moments where I still feel like I'm a raging maniac. You know, so I just want to. I'm Dr. Spradlin. I'm not a doctor. I can't do that. That's misrepresenting.
Well, Dr. Dre's not a doctor.
I'm gonna throw down some beats then. We'll get you the soundtrack later.
Dr. Frankenfurter wasn't a doctor.
And that's to the time warp. Again.
That's right.
So, yeah, lasting change comes from the intention. So the intention is something that in this given moment that I'm divesting myself of my dichotomous thinking, which means I'm letting go of that. I'm letting go of my self-loathing. And just right now, I'm just being, and I'm doing something differently. You know what I normally do is this thing over here that I dislike. It's fine. So right now what I'm doing is I'm doing this thing here, which is maybe a little bit more difficult, but it's the thing that I want to begin to turn into my habit. I just keep turning back toward that over and over and over again. And this gets us into, can I talk for a moment about this failure isn't an option thing?
Okay.
So, Dr. G.
Wait, what? Failure is not
Failure is not an option. It's not an option. And we kind of discussed this a little bit earlier, in spite of his protesting here a little bit. And what we mean by that, you know, we think of failure like, oh, these folks, the 20, you know, at some point, like after a few weeks, you've got 75% people are adherent to their resolutions, and then later it's down to, you know, like
20%.
20%. Those other people are failing. Okay, well, okay, we could say that, I guess, but you know, it can be a useless terminology. But when it comes to our change in ourselves, you know, again, if I don't go to the gym tonight, it's not absolute failure. Only in that dichotomous all or nothing thinking, the old way of thinking, the reactive and conditioned way of thinking, is that a failure. It is a moment. I'm off the wagon. I'm going to get back on the wagon.
Yeah.
This is, you know, it doesn't mean I can't exercise tomorrow or later that day, or you know what, I couldn't get to the gym, but it doesn't mean I can't take a walk. It doesn't mean I can't stop here for a minute in my living room, maybe do some planks. Right?
That's right.
I can do that anytime I want to do that. Because again, we are learning that we always have a choice. We always have a choice about how we step into the moment.
Yeah.
So this is what we're getting. So failure isn't an option. So failure, I'm going to say it's irrelevant, really.
Yes,
It's just
I
an
like
irrelevant
that.
term. It doesn't fit with, I think, what we're all trying to pursue in our health. I hope that makes sense to
Well, because it's always
you and
journey.
everybody else.
It's
Journey.
not destination.
Journey.
We're so
yeah.
destination focused instead
Yeah.
of journey
Yeah.
focused.
Yeah.
So what happens if I try to lose weight by getting healthier, and all I ended up was healthier? Oh my God!
He got healthier.
I just felt better, and I sleep better, and poo better. Oh well, but I weigh the
Whoa.
same.
Yeah. Right.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. What about harm reduction? I like that. So you guys talked about that at meditation group.
Yeah, there's a man, a researcher and practitioner who's he's passed away a few years ago, but it's named Alan Marlatt, who developed this mindfulness-based approach to substance abuse treatment. And it was a harm reduction. So it's basically saying, you know, progress, not perfection, and so we don't have these all or nothing states of sober, not sober. So for this, it's basically saying, well, if you're drinking less, if you have an alcohol problem of some kind, whether you're full-on alcoholic or occasional binge drinker, kind of cutting down a little bit, that's success. If you're, for instance, you cut your pizza consumption twice a week from 2 medium pizzas to 1 medium pizza twice a week, that's progress.
That's right.
Keep working at it. And of course, you're assessing also, like, well, what happened in that moment where I still engaged in that behavior? Like, what preceded that? What's my emotional state? What's happening there? What's a skill that maybe I'm missing? What's an opposite to emotion action? Maybe that I wasn't aware of or thought about in the moment to engage in. Or other environmental factors are at play also. And was I in an environment that was supportive of, whether that's socially, like am I with some folks that like they're just chugging beer and eating pizzas, or am I hanging out with some folks that are like, hey, let's get some salad, or I'm just socially connected, and so my dopamine and serotonin levels are high enough that I just feel kind of like, feel pretty good emotionally, so I don't have this intense craving for those old behaviors.
Yeah.
And it's all, but anyway, so it's that progress, not
Over
immediate perfection kind of idea.
That's right.
That's what that's about, yeah.
I think my patients have heard me say that like 1,000,000 times.
Yeah.
Progress. You didn't fail.
Yeah.
You're moving in the right direction. All right, so
Christine, you're welcome, and I'm glad to hear that you needed to hear that. That means that we've done at least one good deed this evening. I'm glad you stay on your path. Whatever you're doing, keep it up. I'm sorry, Dr. G.
no, you're so success
him in the eye.
through repetition. That's not the. So success through repetition. So hero gets sushi.
Hold on, it's not hero gets sushi. Some
Sushi
of you will
gets
know.
hero.
Sounds like a
Sushi
monster. Hero versus the sushi monster. Rawr. Actually, I didn't explain it to you well enough. I don't think Dr. G's seen the film. Some of you have seen this documentary, Hero, Jiro, Dreams of Sushi.
Dreams of sushi.
Hero Dreams of Sushi. If you've ever seen the film, hope you enjoy it the way I do. And it's about a sushi chef. Oh, there we go. Zoe knows what we're talking
Zoe
about.
watches. That's all she watches is documentaries.
Good Zoe. Keep up the good work. Gotta get this guy into some of these movies here. Oh, now we've got Gyro gets sushi. Or the hero sandwich. So he's this brilliant sushi chef who, at the end of the day, by the end of the film, what you get is he has cultivated a Michelin 5-star sushi restaurant. And I might be kind of getting some of the facts wrong, but I'm close when I say he's booked out for years. His restaurant is booked out for years for reservations. And I think it's like a minimum to $200 to $400 or $500 just to reserve the table in advance. That's not even like getting all your food and everything. It's a fairly small place, but his story is just, it goes through just how he every day does the same thing. Repetition. When he gets up in the morning, he goes down to the fish market, and he's buying mackerel from this merchant, but he goes to a different merchant to get his eel, and so on. He doesn't just do one-stop shopping because it's convenient. He wants what he considers the best quality ingredients. And even his rice he purchases from somebody different. He picks what he considers to be the best quality rice. And then there's this whole process of cutting the sushi, making the sashimi, sharpening the knives. There's all these routines, and they're repetitive over the course of a whole lifetime, which goes into, this is just what he does. When he wakes up in the morning, that's his day. And so he doesn't have to think about what he's going to do. It's so ingrained in him, and it pays off for him in that way. This is not to say that we get into these habits so that we can do it for the sake of wealth, riches, being sexy, being, impressing people with smarts or whatever it happens to be. Again, it's just about, moving closer toward those things that we know internally in our wisdom that we can access when we're paying attention with mindfulness. We'll begin to do those things, and we'll be willing, open ourselves, and this is also part of intention setting, is a willingness to do something a little different.
Yeah.
And then awareness of, like, when I'm not doing it anymore, to go back to doing it. And just repeat.
As we finish up here,
Yeah.
one of the things I wrote down from what you said was, the process to be healthy and happy may not be convenient. Yeah. You like that?
Can I be honest about that?
What?
I wish it was.
I
I
know.
wish it was convenient.
Well, if we lived in another country, maybe.
Maybe if we moved to Norway.
So, post your resolutions and the changes
Yeah.
to your resolutions, if you're changing them, to be more dialectical, more achievable, more what can you do versus changing who you are, right? And then better rewards. And next week, we're going to have the next session of Unresolution with, I believe, Holly Hajjaj.
Holly Hajjaj.
Am I saying that right? Hajjaj?
Hajjaj.
So, it's been a long time since she's been on the show, but
Yay!
she's on like 60 shows or something, but
Holly's
that'll be awesome. And she's corporate director of wellness, corporate wellness or something at
For the
YMCA.
Yeah.
And so maybe we'll get her to do the YMCA dance too.
Ooh.
I don't know how that goes, so maybe.
You'll figure it out. There's some videos.
And then we'll probably talk about some yoga, meditation, exercise, some more implementation things, like doable things. But thank you guys. 2018.
Woo!
This is your year.
Oh, by the way,
What?
can I do 2 commercials?
Oh, yeah.
A couple of announcements for everyone watching this. Just want to let you know that Saturday, January 6th at Siva Yoga, I'm teaming up with yoga instructor Jason Eder, and we're going to put on a program on self-care and stress management from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Nice.
The cost is around $70 or so, but you get some healthy goodies. We'll provide the yoga mats and all that good stuff, and bottled water and whatnot. If you have your own mat, bring that, but it'll be part didactic, teaching, meditation practice, and then we'll also do, I think, at least 3 yoga sessions in there.
Nice.
And then the other thing I wanted to mention to you is that Connie Perazka, I was just testing.
That's the
Patrick
Russian
Connie.
Peruska.
Peruski.
But Polish is Paraska.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So on January, Thursday, January 18th, Retreat to Joy and Wichita and Mine teaming up with the Raritan Clinic at the Pyramid will be presenting community meditation, and Sharon Gilliam will be facilitating that session. It's free and open to the public, and so I think these are kind of good programs for folks to know about in case you're looking for ways to begin to enter into that intention changing, new habits, maybe expose yourself to some folks who are engaging in or aligning themselves with values that you're turning toward as well. It's part of a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah. So how do they get a? How do they do that online? How do they know for your thing this weekend? Or
I will come back on this feed and I'll post a link.
there you
Maybe you could share it just to your page in general.
Yeah,
okay.
that'll work.
And then there'll be a way for them to find a way to buy tickets at Eventbrite, or they can pay on the spot when they come. And we're also we are doing some discounts for certain folks that might be in financial hardship.
go. Like doctors.
Of course,
Through tough times.
Yeah, I don't want you to have to sell your golf clubs.
No.
Who could put up with that?
I know.
Mm.
So thank you guys for joining us. Man, it's been a great last 2-3 years or something of doing these. I'm so glad to have you guys attending these and ask your questions. Feel free to post your questions, post your comments, and we'll get to those. Also, we'll post some links and things. So, thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy 2018.
And let's beat that 8%.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it by remembering that we always have a choice about how we step into the moment.
That's right. What can we do today?
Mm-hmm.
Today time.
I'm going to ride my bicycle home in the cold.
I'm gonna drive.
Good night.
All right. Bye, you guys.